Hi there, welcome to Legacy Crusader. This is Benji.
What up?
He had a very interesting deck for you today. I want to show you.
Yeah, I'm going to show you my X2 drop Infernoid Altergeist deck, because I know everyone wants to see it. Now, there hasn't been any content for a week because we moved, and then this weekend was a regional. This is the most uncomfortable regional ever. Packed room with so many people that we had to have like a second floor open up. I didn't even see it because, I don't know, I wasn't at that low of a table number. But we left after we were both like X2 just because it was too hot and we both have invites, so we're not playing for much at that point. So anyways, let me show you the deck list.
Alright, here we go.
Alright. So yeah, Infernoid Altergeist. I played 2 Altergeist multi-faker, which automatically will seem awkward, weird, and probably wrong. But the deck only plays 10 traps. Technically, it plays 15 traps because I played 2 Marionetter, and these are both trap cards because they set traps from the deck. I played 2 copies of Altergeist Infernoid, and I don't mind. I mean, because I played such a small amount, if I drew one and the faker came up, I wanted to be able to summon it from the deck, so if I drew one, it wasn't a big deal. There's actually a combo with this card where if I draw this with Banishment and Manifestation, or with Marionetter and Banishment, I can discard the Silk and then set the Manifestation to bring the Silk back, so I can not only resolve Feast, but also have a bounce. Also, I play the Imperm, so I can use this on my opponent's first turn if they're playing like Solomon Great, so they never stick a monster to the board. Honestly, the Altergeist engine didn't come up all day. I think I summoned Faker once, and it got ashed, and that kept my imagination from getting ashed, because my brother insisted I play Call by the Grave to stop ash, and not once did I need to do that, because other cards were bait. I played 1 copy of Altergeist Meliseek, which is the best one going second, because you can press through your opponent's cards, but going first, unless I opened an Altergeist trap, which was never really a guarantee, just searching Faker wasn't good enough. So mostly this card comes out off of 1-for-1. You play 1-for-1, summon this, go into Link Karibo, search Marionetter, normal Marionetter to set Protocol, then use Marionetter to send itself to grave to summon this guy back. And if you can summon a small Infernoid with it, you can then tribute this guy to banish 1 card from your opponent's graveyard, adding Faker to hand, and then you can flip the Protocol and get Faker and Silk out at that point. So 1-for-1 by itself does so much. Just needs 1 little Infernoid to go with it. I played Triple Decatron because he's broken.
Yeah, that's a good card.
Yeah, he's like the best, right? Played 1 Antra, bounces face-ups, 1 Harmodic, pops monsters. Petrula pops back row. Sajet resolves Feast for 3, for 2 Decatrons and the Sajet, so it gets you 5 monsters in total. So the best card in terms of letting Feast go off. You can also resolve the Feast for 3 monsters like this if you draw the Sajet, or if you draw 2 of the Decatrons. You can also resolve it if you really screw up the levels. You also have the option to do the Sights Moss and the Decatron. Played 1 Sights Moss.
It's a lot of DD Crows.
Yeah, a lot of DD Crows. Everybody's a DD Crow but the 2 big guys. 1 Atondel, which also can be summoned off Feast by itself if you really have to do that, or if you resolve a double. Played 2 Deviatis and 2 Anokus to make sure that there was always a card in deck to resolve the fusion, because the fusion is my game plan for winning games. The general theory behind this deck is the Infernoids let me win going second by drawing into Imagination, and the Altergeist let me set up going first, because I kind of concluded that you really don't need a very, very, very strong opening turn 1 to actually win a game. Any kind of opening on turn 1 will win a game, so normal Marionetter can win the game, normal Decatron can win the game going first. Preferably you set Feast or have a live Faker, but you can do so little and then just draw Imagination on turn 3 and win the game.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Played triple Void Banishment. This searches Imagination or Feast. But because Feast isn't live, without this card usually, Feast is actually at a lower count than 3. Played triple Imagination, the blowout card. Good against Solomon Great and Striker this format. 1 Void Seer, which is probably the most cuttable card in the deck, because it's one of those surprise cards people don't see coming. So it lets you like win games you shouldn't win because they don't know it's coming, but it's alright. It has its niche scenarios. It can get sided out occasionally. 1-for-1 because it overlaps with Decatron and Meliseek. Although I prefer to go into Mellow so you can just get the entire Altergeist engine rolling in like with one card. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Double Twin, because not Altergeist, Solomon Great and Striker, so I want something to like out those cards.
Yeah, it baits out Solomon Great Roar.
Yeah, that's usually bait. I actually saw a lot of people playing MST because they don't want to discard a card just to get through those cards. I'm actually thinking about it. I did play MST back when like True Draco was a deck, just because I couldn't handle the discards all the time. They just have to hit the diagrams. But I don't know. I've been still doing Twin for now. You can discard the...
You can discard a bad Infernoid that you don't want to summon. You can summon from the graveyard.
Yeah, so it's not that bad if you have to discard a card, although sometimes you need to discard for the banishment. You can discard the Silk and then set it up to bring it back with the manifestation. Or you can bring it back with the Marionetter on turn 1. You can even like open Twin Twister your opponent, discard Faker, then normal Marionetter and bring back Faker. So you have some options.
Oh, okay.
The hand traps, 3 impermanents.
Yeah, it's actually a hand trap.
Yeah, it's the hand trap. It's the only hand trap that people play, you know? It's a trap and it works in your hand. Well, you know, and evenly matched, and Red Reboot and Typhoon, and
yeah,
I'm sure
Harpy's
Featherstorm. But this one triggers Faker. It's also not affected by Call by the Grave, so it's the best hand trap, I think.
It's good because it's good in this deck. It's for Altergeist.
Yeah, if you're not playing Faker, I don't think this card is necessary. So, but I am playing Faker, so it is necessary. And you know, I don't play that many traps, and this is one where I can resolve Faker afterwards. I main 2 Feast, and you can't resolve Faker to summon from deck after this, but you don't always need to do that, because if you can normal summon Silk to start the turn, and then use Feast to summon 3 Infernoids, and still summon Faker just so that the Silk bounces live, that's still fine, you know. A bounce on top of an already set up Infernoid board is really good. For the Altergeist trap cards, I played 2 Manifestation, because 2 Manifestation has a use. Like, 2 Protocol doesn't do anything. You're not going to use... I mean, you can only use the effect once per turn, so I'd rather have more of these than the other ones. Also, these can fish each other out of the graveyard. I've had like weird turns where you have Twin Twister set and no cards in hand, and then one of these and another, either the Protocol or the other Manifestation in the graveyard, and then you fish it out to add a card to your hand, and then you twin them, because they didn't think you had a card. Because people forget this card has a graveyard effect. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Although you never run out of either of these traps, because Silk will just keep fishing whichever one out of the graveyard you need.
Yep.
Yeah. Played 1 Spoofing, because I was electing to go first, but I don't play that many Altergeist cards to justify playing this, because I can up the counts for this. The benefit of playing this card is that if your opponent ashes this card, then they can't ash Imagination, which happens, and my brother says play Call by the Grave, and then I say, no, they're just going to ash other cards. And 1 copy of Wind Button. For the Striker match, and against a lot of decks, they just can't play once this card comes down. And my spell lineup is only 10 spells and 10 traps, and you just don't activate this until you need it. You know, you don't need to rush this card. People will definitely like overplay into these things when they don't know it's coming.
Yeah, like beat Cyber Dragons.
Speaking of, let's get into the extra deck. I played 2 Tiara because sometimes you just don't need to send 3 copies of the test to pop board, so you have a monster to send that's an Infernoid name, and I did want other cards in my extra deck, so I didn't put the 3rd one, because you could do that too, have more cards to banish some of your Infernoids.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. I have 1 more Fusion. I played Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, because the Nashtra came out. I think this might have been like, you know, silly to do, but Nashtra came out, so I'm like, maybe I'll play some Cyber Dragons. And I figured I wanted in the main deck game 1. I didn't want to have to side it in game 2 and 3 and like just give up a game 1. I didn't have to. This is in here for my Doolittle Chimera, my 2nd Doolittle Chimera, which rarely is necessary to OTK my opponent, but this I just figured it'd be a blowout, and it's nice to have blowout cards in your deck. So that's all Imagination and Feast are. They're just blowout cards. This is just another one. It'd be better if I played Cyber Dragon or something and Mega Fleet, but I don't play Cyber Dragon in the extra. 1 Link Haribo. For the Link 1s, Link 2, I have Underclock and Phoenix as generics, because the Altergeist can't make the Doolittle, because the only fire Altergeist monster is the Hextia, and you're not linking that away into that usually. Although you could make the Phoenix and pop a back row and then use it to make the Doolittle Chimera, because it is fire. I played 1 Doolittle in the main deck. I played 2 Hextias. You don't really need 3, but I definitely link one into the other a lot. I like Prime Banshee. I link it away just to fish my monsters out of the graveyard, because Silk fishes out the back row, but this guy can fish out the monsters. Or it just lets you get back 2 back row in a turn. So I like to just get this one in rotation. Not that it's better than Hextia at all. Also, this can just summon... you can actually set up a position where you can negate with Hextia and then use this to summon a card to a zone it points to, because if this is what your board setup is, you can negate with the card that's here, then use this effect to tribute a monster somewhere else to put it next to this. So that's a neat feature people don't really use. It comes up occasionally. And I had 2 Link 4s. I played the Borreload for, you know, control game states, and Boral Sword for just ending games. Came up once. Side deck, I played a few hand traps because I was maining to go first, so I only played the 3 Infirms for going first. Yeah. I sided more hand traps, so I sided 1 Ogre and 2 Ash, because Ash is always good, but Ogre has its niche uses, and I prefer to have the scenario come up where I have 1 of each more often than opening 2 of the unplayable Ash at the time.
Okay.
Alright.
That makes sense.
Then I played 2 Forbidden Chalice because of the Amorphage Goliath decks. I wanted more, like, any deck that was going to Amorphage Goliath, because a lot of my win condition is to resolve Imagination. So while it doesn't seem like going into Goliath really matters against me, I like the option to just turn it off so I can do the fusion. So, but rather than just relying on permanence or to negate a monster till the end of the turn, this gives me more options. Also, this can be chained to things. So this is going a second card. Like, these are all going second cards. These all go in going second. That's about as much room I have for side out. So if I don't put people on having, like, Vanity's Fiend or what do you call it, Amorphage Goliath, I don't bother putting it in. Depending on what my opponent's playing, I can put them on playing Red Reboot. So I play Red Reboot specifically to negate their Red Reboot, so I can resolve my Feast. Because the problem with this is that Feast pays a cost when you activate it, so you send your card to the graveyard, and if they Red Reboot you, you don't have a card to pay the cost the second time. So I want to make sure it goes off. I played my 3rd Feast in the side deck for if I knew for sure I was going first. I would side out the Imperms, and I would side in Judgment and Strikes to have other good traps to play, but not really cut my trap count. And but yeah, these were good for first for making sure that Solomon Great cards didn't stick to the board. Also, it still gave me cards to resolve Faker for. And yeah,
Solomon Brigade is good.
Yeah, didn't have room for all of it. Also, because the engines in the deck are so big, it's really hard to side out. 8 cards is the maximum I can manage to side out in a sensible way. And sometimes, you know, you wind up cutting all the Feast going, because you're going second. So you're like, oh, I might not resolve it. And then it came up, of course, where I needed it. I had 3 evenly if I didn't need the Forbidden Chalices, and then I've sided my Doolittle Chimera because I found I just I can't side in enough cards. So the option was to side in like cards that were like live, and I mean, I don't know, these covered all my matchups, so I just put this in and took out the Chimera Tech if it was a dead card, because this could let me OTK. I don't know, probably wasn't the best use of a side deck card. But I just couldn't side in more cards or less cards, so that's what happened.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't have an Akeem deck list coming because we both left early, and this didn't have anything kind of unique going on. So it's nothing to see. It's just Solomon Greats. Although we do have probably going to have the 10th place deck profile Solomon Great from the Brooklyn Regional coming, along with the 28th place Blue Eyes Danger deck from Emmanuel. And so Ahmed and Emmanuel, and maybe 9th place Jelani. I don't know who's going to get these profiles otherwise, but so these will be coming. And I guess I'll see you next time.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right.